Guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Navigating Modern Dating. This is episode number 10. We're going to be going over a couple of things tonight. I just wrapped up a live show on the Cardone debates. I don't know if it's going to be on Cardone debates channel, but it's Dana Howell. So look that up. I'll probably repost that somewhere on my community tab, but it was a lot of fun. Dr. Taraban was on there with me, so it's always good to see him and have a good time. And we went down a couple of rabbit holes, and we even started talking about some of these polygyny aspects that my good friend TC and I have been going down the rabbit hole the last couple of weeks. But we're going to shift gears a little bit. Maybe we'll come back around. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit because we've got a couple of topics we want to bring up, and we're not big into the clips and bringing that up. Sometimes you can get nuked off the show. Like if you guys didn't know this already, the Access Vegas episode that I went out and did last week in Vegas got taken down due to copyright because we were looking at it in a SNL skit on the show. But it is what it is. It was still good to go out there and hang with Sartain and Rolo and Spence and get a little bit of a taste for that sort of experience. So hopefully I'll be going out there again. But yeah, so start with something that you sent to me, and it's the very first sort of topic of the evening. So let's I'll bring this up, share the tab audio. Yes, make sure I click this on, and it's not a very long clip, so let's just listen to this.
I don't see it.
Oh, nothing's up? Oh, hold on a second. I'm just sitting here watching it. I have to bring it into StreamYard, and then I have to add it to stage. There we go. Good call. All right, let's try again.
So a question that a lot of people wanted to know is, will the Vice President, J.D. Vance, be changing diapers?
Oh, absolutely. That's sort of always been our division of labor. When our first child was born, I think he did a majority of the diapers.
The majority?
I think that's probably fair. And then since then, he's done his fair share of diapers.
So why'd you send this to me? Let's just start there.
Yeah, this like, you know, I try not to get too worked up about shit.
But this is the thing.
This was almost like catastrophic to my mental state this week. This was like,
this is the one.
I opened this up and it led me down a rabbit hole of like philosophical thought. Like, this is incomprehensibly gay. It's to think about the second most powerful man on the planet
in the world
is doing a majority of the diaper changing. It's unfathomable. I mean, just think great men throughout history would like, yeah, they're the princess, the queen, the whoever she was, probably maybe wasn't doing diapers, but he had like 10 concubines doing the diapers, right? Like, I'll go as far to say that one of the greatest, there's a lot of things we could put into law that would really help our society. But one thing that would help our society monumentally is if we instituted into law a man is not allowed to change a baby's diaper if a woman is within 10 miles, 40 miles if there's a vehicle available. That would help us so much. Like, anytime this happens, straight to jail, 30 days and counting, done. But yeah, it's like, this is crazy. This is crazy because there's literally gangbangers on the south side of Chicago, down in the south, right? Atlanta, in Detroit, even in LA, right on Skid Row, that have 10 kids with 8 different women, and they've never changed a diaper. And the women are like chasing them, they're pining after these men, right? So how is it that like a homeless guy can have a better level of submission from his woman than the second most powerful man in the world? How is this possible? What is happening?
Well, I mean, to her, he's just JD, right? I mean, congressman, Was he a senator before, or was he just a congressman? I can't really
He might have been
remember.
a senator.
But that being said, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of their marriage and relationship. They've also been, they've obviously been together long enough. I mean, I know it would be a quick search, but let's just say they've been together 10 years, right? So, I mean, this is kind of what women like to do. This is kind of how women see their man. And this is how women and also family members and people that know you as a certain thing, especially like let's say it's women that don't really like their husband, because it's like, you know, a woman that is really head over heels wants to see her man do nothing but achieve his dreams and succeed. And the higher his status goes, the higher her status goes alongside it. So this clearly is a relationship where she was the pretty one or the hot one or the eye or the status or the leader of that relationship. And as he's ascending, how embarrassed, like, I don't know, he's probably not embarrassed by this, but any man with a set of balls just has to look at this and say, you're going on national television or you're going on the internet saying, you're basically cutting my balls off and neutering me on national television. There are people out there that want to invade the country that I help protect. I'm the second in command to the commander in chief. There are people out there that probably have my name on a hit list for people from third world countries, and they want to get rid of me, or I'm probably the next man up when it comes to the presidency. And you're going on live television talking about how I'm going to change fucking diapers. And they just don't see it, because to her, it's just JD. And so, you know, as this guy is ascending this ladder of this social hierarchy, it's kind of like a dig at him. It's, I can't let him get too big. I can't let him grow too far. I can't let him think that he is now the leader or the man in this relationship, because then that makes her insignificant. And it's like, what do we give a fuck about what the wife of the vice president thinks anyway? I remember Laura Bush, never had an opinion on anything. She just sat there. Like, no one even knew her name. I don't even remember I guess Clinton was the president in 2000, or who won. I don't even know who won it. No, I guess Bush won. But anyway, before that, like, no one really cared. For a very long time, it was just like, oh, the first lady's just supposed to do this. Now all of a sudden they're going on CNN and they're getting book deals. And that's the president's wife, much less the vice president's wife. So what do we do? Like, what is going on? Yeah, it is baffling to me, but it's an opportunity to show, I think, this is you can become the second most powerful man in the world. And if you have a woman that is left unchecked and is not on your program, she will embarrass you in front of millions and millions and millions of people, and we make you look weak.
Well, and what's so interesting, I'll kind of tie this into what we see in modern churches and modern Christianity, is it's likely that this segment actually is going to get him more votes total. Because like women are going to be very on the fence about voting for a conservative man, right? And like men that see this and go, oh, hell no, probably aren't going to vote for a liberal anyways, regardless, right?
Right.
And we see this a lot with modern churches. And this is like, all of this is because we gave women unearned agency, right? We see this in modern churches, is that the pastors or the church leaders don't want to hold women accountable to the standards in the Bible, because then half of the congregation walks out, all the women that it triggers, and then they don't pay church tithes, right? So that's what this is, right? It's let's make him relatable. Let's show that he's not a cold, callous man, right? That he's a man of the people and that he takes care of his children and all of this bullshit, right? Stuff that like we don't need from a leader of a country necessarily, right? And like the harm that it does to our culture is like immeasurable, right? Think about how many men are not attractive enough for the women they're married to, or the woman that they're married to, right? Who now their chick has just seen Look. JD Vance changes
JD
diapers.
Vance changes
What's
diapers.
wrong with you? You think you're more special than the vice president of the United? Irreparable damage. It's just so bad. And back to like previous first ladies or first vice ladies, whatever you call that, that did hold their tongue and submitted to their husband and followed his lead and tried to be more of a fly on the wall, right? The time in which they were doing so, that was what was culturally acceptable, right? Like politicians, above all else, will try their hardest to fit into what is the most culturally acceptable and most popular opinion, because what they're after is votes. That's it.
But he's got to know. I mean, I guess to your point, like, I wish it would make sense, and it would be the ultimate ploy if he was like, yeah, go on CNN and tell him I'm going to change diapers. I don't fucking change diapers, but it's going to make me look relatable. It's going to make me look like the everyman. I don't think he's that guy. I think he's the wife guy. I still think he's the diaper changing guy. So, I mean, is there any benefit? And I guess to your point, yeah. So who really gets the shit end of the stick here? Is it guys that, like you said, who are married to women that really don't like them, and they got kind of the shit into the stick anyway? Is it worth marching those dudes to slaughter? Like, are those guys the sacrificial lamb that guys like us need to put a guy in office that is going to right the ship and get us trending back in the right direction when it comes to powerful, masculine, virtuous leadership?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. The question is basically, is JD Vance cold, calculating, conniving, traditionally masculine, or is he the wife guy? And I think there's a really good argument to make for both. But my personal belief is that he is not the visionary that's going to right this fucking ship.
He's the wife guy.
Well, I don't even think he's the wife guy. So I think this is a publicity. If I had to bet money, I think this is a publicity stunt. I think they spend an enormous amount of money polling Americans on opinions. And I think, like, based on the opinion polls, they decide, like, his team, right, has decided that this was a good move to do. I think it is very cold and calculating. I don't necessarily think he's even actually changing diapers, although who knows, right? But at the same time, I don't think this is a cold, calculating publicity stunt for him to get into office to right the ship, right? I think he wants to get into office to serve the people that want him to get into office, which are not the American people, like not the American citizens.
Oh, I see where you're going. We're not going down that rabbit hole, I don't think. Going down that road. But I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's on one hand, it's kind of who else is there? Who else is the best option? And to your point, we've talked about a couple of times now. It's like, he ain't there yet, or we don't know who it is. Like, it's not Nick Fuentes. It's some other guy who's gonna, basically like, like the reincarnation of a certain national that took over a certain country. And I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like, it's going to be that equivalent. It doesn't have to be Hitler 2.0, but it's going to be somebody that has to be that level of charisma. And it's one of those things where people are talking about the radicalization of the online right or young men. And it's like, what does that even mean? Like, are guys like marching in the street? Last time I checked, it's loony head liberals that are marching in the streets, like chanting the No Kings thing. Like, you don't have a bunch of these dudes that have taken to the streets and that are marching or that are doing these things that are trying to somehow assert themselves. And so I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get to, like, I'm the meme that's this, like, nothing ever happens. I'm that guy. I'm like, all I know is nothing ever happens. And everyone's freaking out left, right, up, down, sideways. But tomorrow or the other day or 2 weeks from now, everything's going to be fine. It's going to be back to civilization as we know it until we have that turning point. And a lot of people thought it was Charlie Kirk's assassination. A lot of people thought it was Trump's reelection. A lot of people think it's what's going on right now with Iran. And it just seems like no matter what, I mean, we've just, no one's going to do it. And no one's going to kind of do what is necessary to get us back until we don't have a choice, right? That's kind of what you and I have talked about, until it's like, well, in 2 generations from now, when our people have been all but decimated from this land, we're going to lose an election fair and square, essentially, just due to the population that's replacing ours. Yeah. So it's why, we've had a lot of conversations recently. And I was even talking to a friend of mine today, and this is kind of the slant that I want to start talking about when it comes to the brotherhood. And it's, we're not creating a networking group. We're not creating a business relationship group. We're creating a group. And this is the show that I did yesterday, talking about this anti-Sigma male shit that I've always banged on this drum. But it's not just about men needing a tribe. It's because of the personal benefits that it gets you, and that men have always needed a tribe. But it's, what's one step further from that? Well, it's like, if you don't pick your neighbors and you don't put people around you that you vetted and that you trust, and that you can take your daughters over to their house to sleep over with their daughters, and you can assure that they won't be touched, or that they will be protected if somebody tries to break in and do them harm, then you're stuck with whatever fumbling, bumbling, dumbass, weak, fat man idiot lives next to you in the first place. And if you're not picking your neighbors, like, your neighbors are basically just going to, on the balance of probability, they're going to be people that you don't agree with, don't align with, aren't going to protect your daughters from harm, and are not going to be good examples for your sons. So what are you going to do, right? Are you really going to be this guy that's just like, screw it, let's just watch it all burn down? I'm just going to kick my feet up, pour myself a drink, and watch the West burn itself to the ground. It's like, you're a willing participant, and they're coming for you too, dude. I mean, hopefully, you better hope that you die before Sharia law gets instituted, because they're coming for you as well, because you're old by that point, which means you can't work and you can't fight. So you're going to the salt mines until you keel over one day from kidney failure, old man.
Well, this is the conversation I have with fairly unplugged younger men. It's like impossible to have this conversation with a man that's not at least, that doesn't see the code to some extent. So basically, any young man that thinks like the Tates are cool, right? The conversation I have with them, because a lot of them express this opinion like boomers fuck the world up.
Yeah.
Right. And how boomers fuck the world up, which I kind of agreed to some extent. But how we got here was essentially boomer-ish generation men letting women have unearned authority and unearned, whatever you want to call it.
A seat at the table, basically.
Yeah, the happy life, happy wife, happy wife, happy life crowd, right? Like, That's how we got in this mess to begin with. And so these young men look back at the boomer generation and they're like, how could you let this happen? Right. But then at the same time, oftentimes when they're looking forward, they're like, I don't want kids. And I'm like, this is how the boomers let this fucking happen. Right. They were like, this problem is difficult. I don't want to solve it. I'm just going to do what's easy. Right. So it's like, you can't say boomers suck and not be like, I will die to fix this problem. These are two beliefs that cannot coincide unless, like, you're crazy, right? Like, you can stick your fingers in your ear and go la 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 and say, no, they're not the same, it's different, like, the hand we're dealt sucks. Okay, you're gonna fix it or not? Are you gonna
what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, are you gonna pass the suffering on to the next generation like the boomers did? Or are you going to try your hardest, everything in your power, to unfuck it? Because if you don't, and you do have children, they're going to look at you like the boomer times 10, right? Because the shit they're going to be in is going to be immeasurably worse than what we're in now.
Yeah, it's such a good point. It's like those people that say, this is more like a Gen Z thing. It's like, well, I didn't consent to be born, right? So I don't owe anybody anything.
All right. Grab a bottle.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, super, super interesting. Something's got to, but again, like, that's the kind of thing. And I think that I think that that message will resonate with people. I think that when you actually, and that's a really good screening mechanism because, like, yeah, we don't want guys around us that don't have or have no, that don't want to have kids or that, you know, have no reason to do so. And they just want to, you know, be comfortable and kick their feet up and that kind of thing. And it's, you know, I think I had a buddy text me after our show last week. He's like, oh, it's so funny you guys talk about legacy. And it's like, yeah, you don't want to have kids, dude. So, you know, like, this isn't really a conversation that you're a part of, but, you know, it's like, but he, you know, he does the thing. He gives back to plenty of young men. He's a very high level college athletics coach, and he's helped, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of young men at this point, trying to put them on a good path. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So no shade to the man. But at the same time, it's like, you know, if there's not sort of this, it's just like making money is all fine, well, and good, like acquiring skills and getting into better rooms. But it's, what's the point of getting into a better room if you only see your network as a means to an end and you don't see it as, because I think that's really the problem. We talk about, I think we're one of the only, and this doesn't even, I would say exist, but this doesn't expand all the way out to the community as a whole, like the brotherhood as a whole. Like, we've got guys where it's like, these are the guys that I want to build, you know, potential a literal community around, where we can raise our kids around and all of these things. Like, that's not every single guy. Some guys are coming in there like, hey man, I just want to like rub shoulders with some guys, do some fun shit. It's like, cool, man, we'll give you that experience. But a couple of us are looking at, what are we going to be doing for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years? And how do we align ourselves so that we are not sending our kids to schools where they have blue-haired nose ring teachers and are getting, because you can only protect your woman and your kids from so much. Outside influences play such a part. And if they're not under lock and key and you don't give them smart, like, there's always going to, it's going to find a way. The infection will find a way, unless you really insulate them with a group of people and an actual community and an actual perimeter as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, and I know who you're talking about. I don't knock guys that do a kind of alternative legacy building. So
Sure.
like, they help young men who oftentimes lives are in shambles because of the lack of masculine guidance and leadership. I think that's phenomenal. Yeah. I think that like very few men will rise to that challenge. Like this coach and mentor type of man. And like my two opinions about it are that, one, like, this is an extremely good path for men to go that are unable to have children. And like, you and me know some men that are unable to have children. So this is like, if I'm unable to have children for some reason, that's the path I will go, right? But at the same time, it's a very small percentage of men who are able to rise to that occasion to unfuck other men's sons' lives, right? Like, the reason that these men need guidance is because their father couldn't give them proper guidance. So if you're the type of man that's able to give them proper guidance where their father couldn't, that's very rare. We need more of the genes that make men like this, right? So it's like, do it also, but have 5 sons that have that secret sauce in their DNA, so that the next generation, there's 5 of you instead of 1 of you, right? So, but yeah, I don't knock guys to do that. It's
I knock him a little bit. He's probably watching
much
this,
needed,
but I'm sure I'll get a text after this. But yeah, there's no shade. Like, shout out to Coach. All right,
but and that's what it is. Like, my opinion of it is not like a knock. It's kind of like the ultimate compliment, or it's like, right? It's like, I want you to have children because what you do is so phenomenal. We need more people doing it in the next generation. You have a unique gift that you can pass along through your genetics.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's, I don't know what it's going to take. It's like, he's such an interesting cat because, like, he'll spend 400 grand cash on a Ferrari, but he won't stay an extra night in a hotel, and he'll go across the street and stay in a cheaper one. He saves like $30. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But Coach, if you're watching, shout out to you. All right, this is something that I came along as well. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but we don't have to go into the idea of this Looksmaxxing trend and all this sort of stuff, but there was a Wall Street Journal article that came out. I'm going to read just a little bit of it, just about halfway through. So this guy, we'll ignore his name. I mean, his last name will certainly give it away, but we'll give it that. We won't give it away. We won't give it out. On average, dating lasts for less than 20% of your adult life. You're gonna love this. You're with your spouse for more than 60% of adulthood, and looking great is one of the worst things you can do for your marriage. When I first told my lovely wife about my plans to Looksmaxx 11 years ago, she says, "Great, now I have to get in shape." I had been expecting something more along the lines of, "Can I help by incentivizing you with sex, or let's work out right now on this bed?" Instead, as soon as I started getting a teeny bit of muscle definition, teeny tiny, Cassandra became self-conscious, insisting on turning the lights off during sex, which was also suddenly less often. She goes, "This has really backfired on you," she told me. Even worse than not wanting to be intimate, Cassandra did not want to go out to dinner with me because of my carb watching. I told her that I could just go to any restaurant and find something to order, which just made her angrier. I hate those women who go, "Oh, it's okay, I'll order a salad with no dressing and I won't drink. I don't want to go out to eat with that person. That person isn't fun." When I told my trainer about her reaction, he was not surprised. The wives of some of his clients, including actors who needed to get ripped as roles as superheroes, tried to sabotage them by baking desserts. After losing weights for his Guardians of the Galaxy role, Chris Pratt told me an interviewer said that his then wife, Anna Faris, wasn't happy. Part of her is hedging her bets that one day I'll be fat again, and she'll say, "Remember, honey, I always told you I preferred this way." I think that's it. He talks about don't get complacent with your dad bod, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of the long and short of that. The actually interesting part of the whole Anna Faris, Chris Pratt thing is that like Chris Pratt remarried Schwarzenegger's daughter, and now he's got a literal supermodel on his arm instead of like the C-list actress. But yeah, I mean, again, I thought this was funny. What's your take on this guy?
Dude, what a fucking vomit of slop was that article, dude. I can't
Wall
imagine.
Street Journal.
Dude, I can't imagine. Okay, so for the audience that doesn't know as intimately about me or you or whatever, I'm quite skinny. I've gained like 50 pounds since joining the Brotherhood. A little bit of fluff. I got up to like 215 like a year and a half ago at 6'6", and I started cutting. And my goal was to get cut down to where my abs were visible. And I cut for like over a year. And just recently at the Tampa meetup, multiple guys were like, "Dude, you need to stop this fucking cut and go put on some more muscle. Like, whatever you're trying to get to, like, fuck it. Don't have the six pack. Just put on more size while you're still in your 30s. And so that's what I'm doing. So the reason I brought this up, if I was still going, my abs would be visible in a month, maybe, at the rate that I was headed to. And if one of my chicks was like, "Your abs being visible make me self-conscious," my reaction would be to laugh and say, "Shut up, retard." That's it. Like, I can't fathom this conversation. It's so insane, right? You're too sexy. I'm unconscious. I'm subconscious now. Shut up, retard. That's it.
Yes,
done.
It's the whole dad bod thing. But it's like, but listening to the guy, and it's hard to tell whether he's being facetious or not. It's like, "Oh, I thought she would say, let's exercise. Can I incentivize you with sex?" It's I mean, dude, like, you can get in shape and look great without having to be this obsessed, like looking at every single grain of rice as the enemy. There's so much. It's really not that. I mean, it might take a little bit longer than you want to, but you really don't have to obsess. I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm trying to get this last like 7 or 8 pounds off that I really do have to watch everything. But that's for a means to an end. That's only to get to a weight where it's like, all right, I want to snap a picture of this to prove that I can get to like 7 or 8% body fat. And then I'm going to do like a year-long lean bulk and just very slowly increase over time so I can actually put a little bit of a size back on, because I am too small in my opinion at like 180. I want to get up to probably like 190 or 195 solid. But yeah, it's like the whole thing was like demonizing this Looksmaxxing thing about, yeah, we don't bone smash and all this kind of crazy stuff that's been going. But there is a ton of truth to the idea of the halo effect, where it's like the better shape that you are, the better you take care of yourself, especially getting jacked and getting ripped. It's one of the best signals overall that you can send any human being, whether it's a man or a woman, because guys will respect it because they know what it takes. And then women will see that and be subconsciously attracted to it, because that's what a man who could kill other men always looked like: big, strong, powerful, broad shoulders. But yeah, it's like guys are still listening to their women, or it's yeah, like, oh, these guys' husbands or these guys' wives are sabotaging his weight loss by baking desserts and that kind of thing. So when you're picking a woman, like when you're dealing with women, if she's not in shape or not, like working out isn't part of her thing, it's rare that she's going to turn it into a thing with you. So that's not to say like I don't want a chick that spends 3 hours at the gym every day and is one of these like fit influencer girls and that sort of thing. But there's got to be some baseline of healthy habits. I mean, I remember the girl I dated back in New York. She didn't work out ever, like at all. And then when she started working out, that's when I was like, oh, great, good for her. And then that was the first step in many steps of the eventual demise of the relationship. But yeah, like these guys that are, and he's clearly doing this for his woman. He's just like, oh, I'm getting in great shape, and she's not rewarding him. And so he's clearly doing it just to try to get to his wife to fuck him more, I guess. And it even happened less frequently. So the guys, what he will do is he will probably allow himself to get fluffy again, which what he really should do is continue getting in great shape, spending more time out, getting attention from other women, and having that be the part of his new lifestyle. And if she doesn't like it, then tough shit.
Yeah, that's why this is an issue for her, is she knows or feels or is afraid of. It's basically like endgame feminist shit in her mind, where she thinks men and women are the same. So she thinks if her man is sexier, he might sleep with another woman. And if he does that, that means he doesn't love me. Right. And it goes back into the lizard brain, which is, if he leaves me, I will die. Right. So it's like feminism funneling into the lizard brain was like, the women I'm with, if I go step out, it's possible if the woman is like all the things she's not physically that she wants to be, yeah, she might feel some type of way about it, right? But she doesn't really care. She knows, like, we've had plenty of conversations that this means nothing. So when she sees me bettering myself, she knows that that's a good thing. She knows that it doesn't matter if I'm more attractive to other women. It's probably good if I'm more attractive to other women, because then men will also respect me more and I can get what I want for her and the children. So it's like the feminist brainwashing that men and women are the same, and then solipsism on top of that, and then the female lizard brain on top of that. And it's just a fucking train wreck. So this whole thing is like women trying to fatten their men up. It's just, it's so misguided, where it's like, you should want to make your man better. You should be trying to make his meals healthier, right? Yeah. For him. He should be annoyed at you for you looking out for him to make him more attractive.
Pizza. Like, yeah, he's talking about getting cookies and wants to go off plan, and you're the one that's saying no. Like, you're the one that's locking up the cookie jar at 10 o'clock at night because that's when the timer goes off. But yeah, this came up on the show that I just did earlier today, where it's even in Dr. Terban was talking about it. He's like, it's we talk about cheating, right? Men and women cheat for different reasons, but we don't have to talk about that. It's been ad nauseum. But the key takeaway that he brought up, that I think is something that gets overlooked and not brought up as much as it should, is that women who cheat report a lower satisfaction in their actual relationship. Men who step out don't have such reports, don't report such findings. And they'll even go as so far to say that, because he's counseled these guys, he's counseled guys that have stepped out or that have like chicks on the side or whatever that have had affairs. And he says every single one of them, I don't think he said there was any, he might have, maybe there's an exception here or there, but he goes, I would never leave my wife for one of these bimbos. I would in your case, you're like, maybe I'll entertain one for the sister wife spot, but it would take, like, what it would take for me. Let's say I had a relationship with a woman that I just was everything that I ever wanted, is everything that I checked all my boxes, great mother stock, kids, all that kind of good stuff, does all the things that I ask her to do. And, you know, whatever, everything that I talk about wanting in a woman. It's like, I couldn't even really imagine a scenario where it's just like, I'm just going to step out in some bimbo and then all of a sudden I'm going to replace her, just because, like, the guys that are doing that, the guys that are really running off with their secretaries and that are actually swapping out those women with their wives are the ones that hate their fucking wives, are the ones whose wives never bang them, always browbeat them, make them change diapers, always bitching at him about why he's not working hard enough, bitching about his socks in the hamper, unappreciative, cold, dead fish in the bedroom. Like, I've never heard a story where a guy was like, yeah, I stepped out on my wife who I love more than anything in the world, and I just started shacking up and created this other, and I just swapped her out with some bimbo that I didn't like very much. It's always been, yeah, the secretary or this other chick at the truck stop listens to me. She cares about me. She asks me about my opinion. She actually makes me feel seen as a human being, and I'm not just some fucking ATM, and she doesn't browbeat the fuck out of me. I've never heard it any other way, but you're right. Like, the feminist brainwashing that cheating is bad no matter what, and whoever steps out is, and that man doesn't love you and he's going to leave you barren and penniless. It's just, it's the boogeyman. It doesn't exist in reality. It doesn't happen.
Well, this is basically why I tell guys that I work with who are in long-term relationships that and they do have a good woman and they are monogamous to her. I tell even them, you should step out once or twice a year or once every other year and get some exercise. And what this usually looks like is they go get some exercise. They actually feel kind of bad about it after. And they're like, oh, fuck, like, I kind of wish I didn't do that. But sometimes, and it's actually not a small percentage, a lot of the times, there will be something that has been like a bad friction point in the relationship, right? Like, they have a view on something, and when they bring it up with their woman, she's like, no, that's stupid. They will tell that view to the exercise, to the side piece. And the side piece is like, oh my God, I've never thought about it like that. That makes so much sense. You're so smart. And she'll be genuine about it, right? That's when the guy's face has been pointed at. His chick is not into him anymore. So that's why, and this is what the secretary situation is, right? The man will stay in the sexless marriage, you know, where the wife berates him. Like, he'll stay in that. And if the secretary isn't a really good woman, he's still not leaving his wife. He's like, right, well, that was fun, but I can't marry this chick. She's fucking got a bunch of tattoos and she's a single mom. It's when that woman is better at all of the other things than his wife. That's when he's going to leave for her.
And instead of just being a woman that your guy doesn't want to leave, it's the answer is, I need to demonize him, or I need to keep him under lock and key, or I need to drill into his brain that I would never accept this, and then I need to demonize it, and I need to, versus if I'm just the woman that he wants ultimately, and I check off all of his fucking boxes, that guy's not going anywhere. This is the big misconception I think about men. And like, to our, like, the point that we're just saying, it's like, yeah, it's when there's something that there's a disagreement on, or he's treated a certain way by his woman, that he realizes like, oh, there's a woman out there who actually thinks what I do is not stupid, or actually thinks what I think is actually smart. And that's when the gears and wheels start turning. But even to that point, you could be a man in a relationship and who still steps out. But the difference is he's like, it doesn't matter what the chick could say or who she is outward or how hot she is or whatever. He's just not going to leave his chick. But again, women have a really hard time with this because they think if you would sleep with this other girl, that means you take her seriously. And it's like, no, we have hundreds of thousands of years of this where men will step out or men will run around and sleep with women they don't like that they're never going to call again. Like guys have guilt-free sex with women all the time. They'll have one night stands with random chicks and they never speak to them again, never call them again, whatever. It's only women because and this came up in the show before. I always like to point this out every now and then when it's like, hey, listen, when we talk about men and women in the abstract, we're talking about what we've seen or what happens and what's reported and what's in the data and what's in the science. Women always and only look at it through their own little lens, own perspective. Even this woman, Olia, who was on the podcast, and she's like, well, I've never experienced that, so it must not be true. They only see it through their own lens, and their own lens is, especially if they're a very healthy, well-adjusted woman, if he steps out, that means he wants to bang other women, which means he loves other women, not me. Because if I step out, I am only going to sleep with a guy that I love or that I am really, really, really into or that I'm emotionally connected to. So I can only fathom that he is doing the same. The only time we've ever had a woman on that's disagreed on like TFPOV, I think she's been like a sex worker. She's like, no, I just help these guys. Like, they come to me as a professional, they get their rocks off and they go back to their wife. That's really it. I listen to them. They tell me their sob stories and why they hate their broad so much. And then I send them packing back on their way. And it's because she has, in a weird way, kind of a warped view on sex, because to her, sex is like washing her hands because she's not well adjusted and she's got a very high notch count. So it's kind of like that catch-22.
Yeah, I've made this analogy before. Where it comes from is like the way that women love is they love children and things below them, like their downwards love is very different from their upwards love. So women love children, small animals, whatever, things that are lesser than them. They love them basically unconditionally. But their upwards love, which is where they attach their sex to, is like that which none greater can be conceived. It's the ultimate conditional love. It's conditional on that person they attach it to being essentially a god. Versus how men love everything, because men, and this for biblical folks, it goes God, men, women, and children, right? So this is like where this idea manifests itself in Christianity, right? Women love up, they submit up. Men submit up to God and they love down to women. So the way that men love women is the same way that they love children and their dogs. It's essentially unconditionally. Now, like for our children, we might not love them if they go and kill 5 people. Just like with our woman or our wife, we will not or might not love them if they step out. If like it's one conditionally on sexual fidelity. With our children, it's one conditionally on like not murdering a bunch of people. With our dogs, it's one conditionally on not like eating a baby's face off, right? So what this ends up looking like, and then sex is separate for men, right? Like sex is totally separate. It's just a physical act. It's not attached to his love whatsoever. Because his love all goes down, right? And so what this looks like women don't understand this, right? They think that men love the same way they do. They think it's conditional about all these things, and they think they attach sex to love, but that's not how it works. So what it ends up being, this analogy, when a woman's like, if he sleeps with another woman, that means he doesn't love me. It's like when a woman has a child, and like she's got a son and he's 3, and she's pregnant with a new baby, and the child's pulling on mommy's dress. Mommy, Why are you pregnant? Why are you having a new baby? You don't love me anymore?
Right.
It's like, no, we have the capacity to love downwards multiply, right? It's not singular. Just like back to the biblical folks, God is able to love all of his followers, right? A man is able to love all of the women that submit to him. A woman is able to love all of her children. And we used to understand this. Like, we used to understand this completely. And now we have almost lost all understanding of this in modernity. Now when you say this, people think you're fucking crazy. And one of the reasons I tie this into the biblical stuff is because that is a way that some people that think it's crazy can hear it and be like, oh shit, now I get it.
Speaking of biblical, you knew I was going to bring this up, so I certainly had to. It's not that long.
When you guys have some difference of opinion, you've heard me out, we've talked about it, we've hashed it out. I may still bring it up occasionally, but I'm going to go your way as your wife because you are who God gave me. The Holy Spirit's working through you, even if I disagree. And again, this is not about moral matters. You're with a man who's abusive or wanting to do immoral things. That's totally different. We're talking about just good people of disagreements. There's so much freedom in that as a woman to be able to say, God is working through this. And I know that gets spicy and complicated with online discussions and stuff, but I do want to say that because God does give a special role to the wife and to the husband, and they're different.
So, all I'm hearing is he's going to tell her what's up, and she's still going to nag him. But I'm going to begrudgingly go along with you because and again, this is part of the problem I have with these like Christianity-based marriages or relationships or whatever, where it's like, you have a guy that says, do X. And she goes, I don't want to do X, but I guess I'll do X because God says I have to listen to you, but I'm still going to fucking nag you about it as we go along. Versus a woman that goes, you are the dude and I will do what you say because I submit to you as my man, as my husband, whatever. And I think it just is a weird cop out because again, when it's like, well, you need to do this because God says so versus you need to do this because I said so. So, I mean, that's always the issue I've had with these, these Christian trad cons. And Lila Rose is one of the worst ones. That's who she is. And she's this big, she bangs the drum on like the porn usage and all that kind of bullshit. But you shared a very funny picture of her with her family, and her husband is about the dorkiest looking dude that you could possibly have. And it's like, yeah, women don't submit to men that look like prey. So when you see that video, or like, what are some of the conversations maybe you've had back and forth with her? You said you've gotten her triggered a couple of times.
Yeah, and I'm getting close to nuking my faceless, nameless X account because like I've gotten what I need out of it. A lot of what I use,
you're going to archive it, and you're never going to let me go back and read your tweets.
Well, a lot of what I've used it for is to figure out if there is a bastion of masculinity in the Christian space in modernity or not. So, and like how you do that, I think, is by essentially rage baiting as many people as possible with biblical truths to see if they knee jerk or not. And her, amongst many other people in the space, knee jerk absurdly at what would be like very baseline biblical truths. Like, for example, this should not trigger any Christians when you say the way that a woman serves God is by submitting to her husband or father if she's not married and serving him. That is how she serves God. That should not be offensive to a Christian. But like, I have yet to see one that doesn't knee jerk at that. It's always like, but, well, what if he's abusive? Well, what if she didn't have it? I'm like, you can't even have a discussion about the most basic biblical concept. Like, we are fucked. Same thing like with the adultery conversation. I mean, Rolo's on there commenting on like, or engaging with a decent chunk of the like trad Christian space on X.
Yeah, because he wrote a book on that. He wrote a book on religion.
And he always just asked the same thing. One question: should a wife obey her husband? And like the entire space doesn't say yes. There's very few people that say, of course. Duh. Yeah. Like there's always a but or an if or a what if. Yeah, but it's just absurd. But I think I've had some tweets and some reply tweets pop off more or less. And a lot of what I say on there is extremely inflammatory. And I don't think that's the best thing to be tied to my brand and other people that I associate with as well. So I think I'm going to nuke it and toe the line a bit differently with a new X account that's like my name, right? That's my brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's one of the many quote unquote Christian influencers, and like you see the code, right? So I couldn't really figure out the code, like what exactly is her grift? What is her issue? But I know she makes a lot of money. People post the receipts about stuff like that, right? Like where's the money behind their influence and what they're saying? So I know she makes a lot of money banging the drum for XYZ and whatever. But it wasn't until she posted a photo on, I think it was on Easter, of her and her husband with their children. And his fucking shoulders are narrower than hers. And I was like, well, this explains it all. Obviously, you're not going to respect men because your man is fucking less wide than you. What are we doing? How is this fucking possible?
Yeah, I wish I could bring it up, but it's pretty. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
I wouldn't even bring it up. It
makes a lot of sense. It makes sense, but
it's almost like I almost don't like going there.
Yeah,
but this is like I couldn't figure out what the issue is. Right? Is she just a fucking grifter? You know, is she just another one of these feminist Christianity LARPers? You know, is she one of these chicks that wants her past erased, and Christianity is like the tool to use to get to that end? And then I saw that photo and I was like, well, I think this about sums it up. Because if I was a chick, I would question that guy also.
Yeah. And the whole point is the reason that she is so unwilling to give an affirmative yes, or the reason she is so hell-bent on making exceptions to the rule, or even in that clip, she's like, well, as long as if he's doing something immoral, that's different. Or if he's doing blah, 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 like she's already looking for exceptions because in her life, she needs to have exceptions because she can't follow her fucking husband and she won't. So she's only giving out, and because this is how women think. It was funny. This woman, Olya, I said this before. It's like women only look at things with their fucking horse blinders on. So when they're giving people advice, or when they're talking about what they only talk about, this is what I would do, or even covertly, if they're telling women to do something, it's because that's what they're doing, and what they're doing they believe is correct. So when she is not willing or able, whichever one, to submit to her husband because of the way he looks and the way he is, that's why she can't tell other women to do so, because she's only doing it from her personal lens, which is, I don't submit to my husband, so I'm not going to tell other women to do so. I mean, and you could put the shoe on the other foot. Like, look, Gia McCool has been on the show a bunch of times. She's cool. I've met her. I know her husband. I know the relationship they have. But she also says some pretty inflammatory stuff on X. But she says stuff that, is a little bit vulgar for my taste, but whatever, that's her personality. But she will tell women like, hey, ladies, you need to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and you need to do this. And it's because that's the relationship I know that they have. So it's not that she's like an outlier in any way where it's like, oh, well, she's just giving opposite advice for the sake of it. It's like, no, she's giving her advice through what's actually worked for her and her marriage and her situation. So it's the same reason. It's just, again, they're talking about it from their personal experience, and it's because if they don't really have the capacity to think in the abstract that way, where it's got to be through their own personal lens. It's like, oh, well, a guy could do this, and it's like the answer and the rebuttal is always, all right, like what was his name? Like when we had Catherine on TFPOV a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, well, he might do this, and guys will do this to you, and guys will do this. I'm like, one guy did that to you. What's his name? Like, there's not this whole slew of dudes out here that are running around and doing these transgressions against you. And this is also the exact reason why I have a problem. Like, this woman that just was on the show earlier talking about, well, I see marriage differently. I don't see it as a contract with the government. I see it as a covenant before God and blah, blah, blah. Even that is not strong enough. If you can't even recognize what it says as far as like, yeah, you need to submit to your husband, like what power does marriage have? If you're not willing to at least admit that, what power does marriage have? Like, how do you sit there and say, well, this is a covenant, but you won't even do the basic tenets of the covenant, which is obey your fucking husband?
Well, and this is like one of the things I say, one of my memes or whatever you want to call it is, ask not what your husband can do for you, ask what you can do for your husband, or man and woman, right? And this is like, it really blows my fucking mind. Men are so easy to please. Yeah. We will accept very little, and we'll, like, most men will accept very little from a woman and like immediately wife her up. Men will see a meme about a woman like agreeing with a man over something, and they'll be like, put a ring on it, right? Like a fucking meme, and men are like, that's wifey, right? So if women just gave men what they wanted, like 5% or 10% of what they want, they'd all be married, right? So like when I see these women that aren't married, I know they have zero intention of giving a man anything that he wants, and all they think about is, what can this man do for me? That's it. Like and this is why and they don't understand this. So they'll be like, oh, but my parents had a 40-year marriage, and sure, they got in arguments. And the difference is, I guarantee their mom gave 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 80% of what their dad wanted in a woman. And they won't be the type of woman their mom was. They just won't do it. Feminism tells them that that's bad, and they're a slave and all this other retardation.
I wonder why that is the case, though. It's like, if they have successfully married parents and they see their daughter doing this stupid shit, especially mothers that, to your point, gave 15, 20, 80% or whatever, and they see their daughter doing the opposite, why is this happening? Why aren't they saying, hey, you know how we have a 40-year successful marriage is because I stopped being a dumb, selfish bimbo. Time to wake up. Why aren't those conversations being had?
Well, most of those family unit headships, the man is not a patriarch and a strong masculine man. He's just like a regular guy, right? He's like, I don't want to say anything that's going to make my wife offended. I don't want to say anything that's sexist. I don't want to say anything that's misogynistic, homophobic, all the ists and isms and icks and all the, he doesn't want to go there, right? He's like, I was told not to do that. If I do that, I'm going to be a bigot or something. So I'm not going to go there. And then like the woman is automatically, like his wife is automatically going to like grab onto the societal norm, because that's how women are when they're not led otherwise by a man. So everything, like they can't even look at their own marriage and relationship and be like, everyone else is crazy. Because clearly what we did that was different worked. Right? Like the conditioning is so fucking strong on them. There's somewhere else I was going to take this too, man, but I fucking lost it.
Something about what? Looking outsider influences, or
well, this wasn't what, but this is like another angle to it. So you see the women that understand this, like doing things for their man. Typically, they're from households where like they did have a patriarchal father that was strong and masculine and gave them this guidance, right? But this is where I was going to go with this next. So it's so crazy. We can have women on the show and they can be like, a man should be taking me out to dinner. He should be planning the dates, this, the X, Y, Z. He should be doing all these things for me, right? And then it's almost comical. It's like so absurd that the women start laughing, thinking I'm joking if I say, yeah, but can you cook a lasagna?
Yeah,
one thing, the smallest thing, right? They're like, oh, what am I, your slave? I'm like, what did you just list out about a man should do? They just listed 50 things and you won't even make a fucking lasagna. And then you're like, where are all the good men? I'm like, I don't know, bitch. Maybe you should be useful.
Right on. I think it's probably good to start wrapping. We're about right at 9. I've been going for like 3 straight hours, obviously, with including the other one. But let's, guys, if you're interested in hearing a little bit more what we got to say and you want to have some conversations behind the scenes that are off the YouTube comments, just get into the Academy, school.com/the-academy. It's free to join. And, we'll get in there and talking about all this kind of stuff, other stuff. And it's just a cool place where we get guys that want to have these behind the scenes conversations that we can't just have in YouTube and can't have in the comments. So if you're interested in that, just let us know and go ahead and click on that and join. We'll be back with the female POV next week. Spencer's been traveling, so he hasn't been a chance to really get some of the talent lined up. But this is fun. We'll be back same time next Tuesday. The following Tuesday, I'll be traveling, so we won't do a show then. But guys, keep on the lookout for, if you're not following me on Instagram, you should, or at least follow the Ancestral Masculinity Brotherhood page. I'm going to be dropping some information about our Algonquin trip coming up in a couple of weeks where we're opening up to the public. So if you guys have seen that, the B-roll, the recordings, the ads that we've done for that in the past, really great opportunity for, if you're a high performing guy who is maybe getting a little bit comfortable, getting kind of the same day, Groundhog Day over and over feel, and you need to kind of break out of that rut and do a nice hard reset. I know TC has had some really, really transformational weeks out there in the woods and the wilderness. So this would be a really great opportunity to meet some of the guys in the group and see if, you want to be around guys that are also chasing excellence and trying to get out there and, level themselves up and be around guys that are trying to pass on solid legacies and make men better than what they found them when we came on this earth. So that's all we're going to hit you guys with tonight. TC, anything to hit the guys with before we wrap things up?
Nope. Get in the Academy, and I'm sure the Algonquin details will be posted in there as well.
Yep, they already should be.
That trip will change your fucking life.
Indeed. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Appreciate